Hello again, classy people, this is Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and this week I'm reviewing Pokken Tournament. I love the Pokemon games, always have, and I'd wager that I always will. But I've always wondered how the battles would feel as a straight up fighting game, as opposed to a turn-based combat system. So is Pokken Tournament exactly what I've been looking for? Let's find out. Pokken Tournament takes place in a brand new region in the Pokemon universe, where battles play out a little differently to other regions we've seen before. Instead of a standard 6-on-6 turn-based battle, you have intense one-on-one battles that focus on mobility and combos. There's no real story to speak of other than the leagues and tournaments you have to rise through the ranks of, and the appearance of a mysterious dark Mewtwo that challenges fighters for no apparent reason. Pokken's lack of narrative wouldn't really be a problem if there was another incentive to play through the single-player campaign. As a multiplayer title, Pokken Tournament is entertaining enough, but its single-player tournament mode is just so repetitive that I found it difficult to be enthusiastic about playing. There are assist Pokemon and stages to unlock, but aside from them, there's not a lot to entice you to slog through the single-player offerings. To its credit, Pokken Tournament looks and sounds enjoyable, though it does have some hiccups here and there. The game features a fairly varied roster of Pokemon as far as models and animations are concerned, though while some Pokemon look like you would imagine them to, such as Machamp, others look abnormal due to the inconsistent quality of textures. Various Pokemon such as Suicune or the costume-wearing Pikachu Libre end up looking slimy or made of plastic, which is pretty jarring at times. On the audio side of things, the game features a fairly upbeat soundtrack with plenty of fitting level music to mix things up. The sound of Pokemon and their attacks is pretty much spot on, though I found myself constantly annoyed by the companion character you're stuck with for the duration of the game. Even if you turn her hints off entirely, she'll still butt in mid-match to tell you what she thinks. Though I found the overall presentation of the game to be a bit inconsistent, the enjoyable music and variety of entertaining animations makes it pretty easy to ignore the less endearing aspects of how Pokken is put together. Luckily, the gameplay is far more consistent, presenting a unique take on Pokemon battling and even the fighting game genre. What I mean by this is that Pokken Tournament, unlike most fighting games, consists of two phases. The duel phase works similarly to most other fighters, with each character facing each other on a two-dimensional plane. The field phase is where Pokken sets itself apart by having the mobility and even the movesets of each Pokemon changed to reflect a longer range battle. Having the phases switch mid-battle and figuring out which phase benefits each Pokemon is half the battle with Pokken Tournament, as some fighters are better up close and others are more suited to a long-range confrontation. While I wouldn't call this mechanic difficult, it takes some getting used to. Oddly, this is about as complex as Pokken Tournament gets. The basics of Pokken Tournament are rather simple, which is a pleasant surprise. When you're throwing out combos and special attacks, there isn't as much focus on precision input as you would find in, say, Street Fighter. Even blocking attacks is simplified by having a single block take the place of low and high blocking. Pokken Tournament is accessible for a casual audience, and it honestly makes for a really fun time that anyone can join in on. With that said, there is some depth to be found. As I said earlier, you're forced to deal with the range switching battle phases, but on top of that there is a constant rock paper scissors style mechanic in play, where attacks beat grabs, grabs beat counters, and counters beat attacks. Again, it's all very simple, right down to the blue, red, and green color coding of attacks, but it does add some layers to the gameplay. Additionally, you have assist and synergy meters to monitor, which allow you to utilize your assist Pokemon and your synergy abilities, respectively. Assist Pokemon can provide helpful attacks, buffs, debuffs, or even defensive moves to keep you in the fight, while the synergy meter allows your Pokemon to power up and deal devastating modified attacks and a unique special move. While I do find the overall gameplay enjoyable, Pokken Tournament features a glaring flaw that leaves me feeling just a little bit disappointed. The roster of available Pokemon is woefully small, and while it features an okay variety of different types, this is a missed opportunity to showcase the franchise's underutilized fighting types. This might just be me, but I'd have been far more excited to use Primeape, Heracross, or Medicham than Suicune, Garchomp, or even Charizard. This is a missed opportunity in my eyes. Despite my issues with Pokken Tournament's lackluster roster, its mostly enjoyable presentation combines with the simple accessibility and surprising depth of the gameplay to create a game that is fun for players of all skill levels. Pokken Tournament gets the Top Hat Gamer rating of good. Now we finally know what it's like to have a truly action-oriented Pokemon battle, and personally, I want more. That's part of the game's problem. It's a lot of fun, but the so-so roster and lack of further unlockable content leaves me wanting a lot more. But the content on offer does make for an enjoyable time at the very least. This is a great fighting game, perfect for players of any skill level, meaning Pokemon fans who don't know a Shoto from a grappler can still have a great time. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the review informative. If you missed last week's review on Tom Clancy's The Division, click the annotation. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to watch Machamp pose for a bit. He's basically a JoJo character.